Under the light of the moon, an ominous and deserted black tower stands tall in Solan, the imperial capital of Mephius. As the shrine that was once here lies dismantled and awaiting relocation, a woman cloaked in anonymity approaches and stretches her hand in devotion or perhaps secrecy. Soon, the sound of footsteps heralds the arrival of an old man, wrapped in a dull cloak that fails to shroud his authority. His voice carries the weight of bygone powers, a reminder of a time when reverence for the dragon gods gripped the world with iron claws. The man, with eyes deeply set and seasoned, addresses the woman with an air of familiarity and authority. "I am deeply grateful for the favor of your visit," he says, acknowledging her presence with a slight nod. Their conversation shifts to ancient customs, the fervor of the old beliefs waning in a world where new rulers care little for the sanctity of tradition. Once, the elders decided all with the emperor a mere figurehead. Now, Ghoul Mephius seizes power and dismantles the old ways, his actions severing the head of tradition. The woman, still steeped in the faith of old, presents herself before the elder. With instructions to reveal her abdomen bare, she complies as the elder inspects the birthmark there. He muses, it is the mark of true sovereignty, declaring his belief she bears the potential to lead. The woman's chin trembles, hope flickering in her eyes. But amidst their meeting, the elder senses impending strife. "A young king," he murmurs, but with shadows of turmoil circling him. A dangerous path awaits, yet it cannot be avoided. As dawn breaks into the troubled world, we journey to Solan, a city wrapped in imperial tension. 5 years stretch away since Empress Lana passed, leaving Kaiser Ghoul to rule unfettered by the traditions he disdains. War titters on a knife's edge, rippling tension through the streets. A grand temple ascends to skies, symbolizing the emperor's authority over both hearts and lands, yet the empire teeters precariously over unrest. The commemoration becomes a stage as nobles like de Gru Orlin, Felix, the imperial heir, and renowned figures gather, shrouded by whispers. Skepticism weaves through the air as royal priests conduct a ceremony of grand importance under the emperor's watchful gaze. Amidst the pomp, Raymond, a young noble, is brought forth, pleading for clemency for a village ransacked by Jerius, a notoriously harsh ruler. Families were torn apart to re-establish control, and Raymond's heartfelt appeal seems to strike at the emperor's stern facade. What imprudence! But Raymond, persistence personified, presses forward. It is a moment charged with emotion as the crowd's attention pierces the air like arrows. Ghoul humors the crowd with a rare smile, but underneath, the tension is coiled like a serpent. As the night falls, whispers of historical brutality linger, a testament to Mephius's tumultuous past. The emperor retires, yet his mind is a whirlpool of schemes and power, contemplating the warmth of Empress Melissa at his side, as her soft voice murmurs of prophecies and conspiracies. Meanwhile, in Kilro, central to turmoil, echoes of revolt throb through the city. Fedem Orlin, head of the anti-Ghoul faction, is frantic and frazzled, ordering preparations with desperation and fear as a mysterious airship looms overhead. The shadow of past and present grievances converge, making the atmosphere crackle with impending chaos. All these threads weave an intricate tapestry, a kingdom on the brink of transformation, caught between ancient beliefs and modern betrayals. Fedem is consumed with worry. He has pushed his plan with reckless caution, aware that a single leak could bring everything crashing down. The growing number of people involved makes the risk even higher. Recently, he has lost sleep, his hands shaking with anxiety. When the messenger returned from conveying news to Nabal about the situation, that Simon Rodloom had left the capital and Nabal, too, had received summons to the imperial city, Fedem was chilled to the bone. The departure of Nabal disrupts their plans significantly. It was said that Nabal left without explanation, indicating a potentially deeper, hidden agenda. Murloc, a council member and part of the anti-Ghoul faction, is unnerved as well. With Nabal leaving, the situation becomes dire. Murloc openly fears that their secret plans are at risk of exposure. They contemplate the threat Nabal poses if he talks to the Emperor, unsettling the remaining conspirators. Indolf, a general who had aligned temporarily with Fedem, listens as Fedem implores him to stay rather than retreat to Solan. Indolf, wary of stirring unnecessary suspicion, is reluctant but acknowledges the importance of maintaining confidence in Fedem's strategy. Fedem argues that by being the emperor's younger, easier to cajole brother, Nabal could divulge everything under pressure. However, Indolf tempers Fedem's growing fear with a touch of rationale. Despite the danger, the emperor is digging his own grave, which might play to their advantage. Yet, as Indolf points out, several unresolved questions still linger, casting shadows on their alliance. Meanwhile, Simon Rodloom is stewing quite uneasily. Though confined in his house and already grappling with past orders from Emperor Gul, he receives a visit from Princess Velina of Garbira. The politically delicate situation between Mephius and Garbira becomes more complex with her presence. Intrigued, Simon engages Velina, who herself is troubled by the unfolding political landscape. Their conversation delves into Simon's history and loyalty to the emperor, as well as the dynamics of Gul's court. Simon recalls how his steadfast yet strategic loyalty to Emperor Gul earned him a place despite numerous hurdles. The reminiscence uncovers the nature of Gul's reign, riddled with tensions and suspicion. Simon had once feared the emperor's temper would lead to rash decisions, yet his years by Gul's side taught him to navigate the stormy political seas. Simon's own compassion for Velina shines through as they converse. Although Velina is deeply concerned about her role within Mephius and her uncertain future, Simon offers her an understanding ear. Their exchange illuminates the tension-laden ties between Mephius and Garbira, with Velina embodying the hope and uncertainty of those diplomatic bonds. Amid the layers of personal loyalty, political intrigue, and shifting allegiances, the situation in Mephius is on the brink of full-fledged chaos. The swirling mix of anxiety, plans, and power hangs heavy in the air, waiting for the next inevitable turn of fate. Simon considers Princess Velina's recent assertiveness. He had known her to defer to Gul, preserving the emperor's esteem. Now, with little more than a nod, Velina had made a choice that even Simon found bold. He muses over her sudden resolve and wonders whether she has a deeper plan in mind. Velina had left the palace to convey a message to Gul. Her demeanor leaves Simon apprehensive, leading him to imagine she might be planning something significant, possibly involving a self-sacrificial act for Mephius. As he contemplates these possibilities, he realizes how determined Velina has become in her actions and intentions. As 3 days pass since the commotion ceremony, the atmosphere remains tense. Prince Gil's surprising behavior at the previous event raised eyebrows, and the anticipation surrounding Velina's next move keeps the court on edge. The audience gathers eagerly, curious about the Garbaran princess's intentions in stepping forward. Velina approaches with composure. Her bold request to depart from Solan, not for Mephius, but to visit Nedane and consult with Lord Rogue Scion, catches everyone's attention. Though rumors swirl, she carries herself with dignity. Velina adds that she wishes to acknowledge the survivors from Crown Prince Gil's forces, showing her continued respect. Despite the whispers and assumptions, Emperor Gul's composed demeanor masks any displeasure. He grants Velina's request to travel, subtly supporting her desire to stretch her wings. As Velina departs, she senses a mix of encouragement and skepticism from those around her. In the carriage, Teresa, Velina's trusted aide, breaks the ice with curious inquiries. Not long ago, the two had ventured courageously to Apta when the air was charged with danger. Teresa's memories are vivid. The young princess had demonstrated courage beyond her years during that precarious time. Reflecting on past events, Teresa vividly recalls the anxiety surrounding Gil's disappearance and the intense search efforts. Velina's relentless determination during the search for Gil echoes in her mind. The traumatic events marked a significant turning point for the young princess, who had since continued to prove her resilience. Later, Velina unearths a profound truth. As she explores memories intricately tied to the search and rescue, she understands the complications surrounding Gil's mysterious vanishing. It hits Teresa suddenly that Velina's actions have purpose, possibly tying to a revelation or a deeper understanding of her circumstances. Teresa reflects on Rogue Scion's current strife with the Emperor, noted for his earlier indignant actions. Velina's request to meet him appears strategic. As they journey, Teresa perceives Velina's plan taking shape as the princess conceals her intentions with a guise of innocence. Velina shares her curiosity about meeting Lord Abigail again. Her articulation hides under a veneer of polite nonchalance, yet her eyes reveal much more to Teresa. The carriage continues its leisurely pace while Velina's resolve to pursue her goals strengthens. Meanwhile, in her room, Inelli Mephius experiences a whirlwind of emotions following the Garbaran princess's departure. Inelli recalls the vivid memory of Crown Prince Gil, both his previous demeanor and his recent, baffling transformation. The uncertain rumors swirling about him disturb her composure, colliding with accumulated tensions regarding family and expectations. Inelli's interactions with her sister reveal a complicated undercurrent simmering beneath her facade. The apparent normalcy of their exchanges suggests deeper fears and contemplations lingering amidst the court's upheaval. Inelli grapples with her conflicting thoughts about Gil, caught between disbelief and a hint of hope tied to his name. In this atmosphere, character motives unfold intricately, with intentions both hidden and expressed weaving throughout. Complex emotions and tangled narratives converge, ushering the characters further into a world of intrigue, relationships, and a future yet to be decided. Inelli sits in a room filled with frustration. The morning began with a simple breakfast where the emperor made a surprising declaration. Inelli will soon be betrothed. It is time to think about a partner for you, he had announced. This announcement strikes deep into Inelli's heart, igniting a blend of irritation and disbelief. The thought of being partnered angers Inelli. She doesn't yet know who her partner might be, but there are rumors. Whispers suggest she might wed someone from the Garbaran royal family. Inelli is appalled at the idea. Marrying a foreign prince or an unworthy aristocrat is not what she desires. This isn't funny, she thinks, trying to dismiss the thought. Inelli is a young woman who has journeyed past typical youthful infatuations. Her heart is closed to new affection. The idea of love seems irrelevant, yet she harbors ambitions beyond just being a political pawn. I am not a princess who is merely a pretty shell. I will one day leave my mark on history, she muses. If marriage were truly her fate, it would be on her own terms, not as a mere possession for diplomacy. There's more she wishes to address, the mystery of Gil Mephius. Thoughts of past events rush back as she recalls the implications of Gil's identity being a fraud. If the crown prince had been a puppet, painted with the blood of a real prince's death, there would be chaos. Was Fedimorlin orchestrating a grand deceit to shift power? Her mind becomes a whirlwind of questions and suspicions. Inelli realizes the significance of the imposter's role, but it's her own future she must consider first. She's spurred into action. Just as she finishes these thoughts, a messenger arrives, interrupting her contemplation. This puts her on alert, rousing old instincts. At the same time, Nabal Meti, a military officer, prepares to meet with Ghoul. He reflects on his degraded fate, brought about by his association with disfavored leaders. Despite his efforts and reforms, everything had led him back to being summoned and questioned. Nabal stands before Ghoul, tension in every fiber. There's a strategy meeting ahead, potentially crucial to him restoring his standing. Ghoul tasks Nabal with sieging Taulia, a decision based on old reports. Inelli, meanwhile, draws links from these unfolding events to her suspicions, particularly regarding the imperial strategy. As action intensifies, the perspective shifts to Nue Salzantes and Zenon Owl in Garbira. The surroundings are tense, discussion revolves around previous failures and the implications of Prince Gil's identity. Zenon and Nue lament their position in a fractured alliance, dissecting rumors about Prince Gil. Internally, Nue devises a secret strategy to provoke Mephius, bending previous failures to ensure success this time. A certain resolve overtakes him. They must harness these troubles to destabilize Mephius from within. Zenon contemplates the tumults within the Mephian leadership. He fears a disastrous civil war could erupt, given the power struggles following Prince Gil's death. Their ability to maintain a semblance of order is their only leverage against spiraling chaos. Despite these political machinations, life in Mephius continues. Gilliam and his company in the city, renowned as the Axe Swordsman, engage in daily activities among the chaos. Gilliam's brash demeanor masks deeper complexities. The city's situation is grim. The aftermath of past wars left many displaced and struggling. As soldiers are rounded up for new orders, a seemingly unaware populace dances on the edge of upheaval. Gilliam's group seems unfazed by their precarious environment, focusing instead on the practicalities of moving on from the battles they faced against Garda and other enemies. This entire orchestration paints not just a picture of a single person or state, but a web of intrigues, power moves, and personal struggles within political realms. Inelli's personal concerns intertwine with potential national crises, culminating in a tension-soaked narrative where every actor plays a pivotal role, each decision tilting the scales towards an uncertain future. In a lively setting, Orba finds himself amid the colorful chaos of Torrent's night scene. The air is filled with music and laughter as Gilliam and Talcott, his companions, guide him into a vibrant tavern. Acting as intermediaries, they're intent on enhancing Orba's cultural experience by introducing him to local dancing girls, a common sight in Torrent. Talcott attempts to reassure Orba, who is visibly skeptical about the encounter. He emphasizes the innocuous nature of spending time with these women, remarking, "It's both for your sake and for ours as former inhabitants of a foreign country." There's a willingness in his tone to bridge cultural divides, though Orba remains largely unmoved, treating the proposition as yet another act. Inside, Gilliam nudges Orba along, encouraging a little entertainment to lighten their hearts and perhaps ease the political tensions that have chased them. The tavern's interior is a mix of color and sound, enhanced by the scent of heavy perfume that almost overwhelms as they step through the door. Orba's reluctance gives way slightly to curiosity, as he had often acted the role of Mephius' crown prince. Despite the discomfort, Orba adapts, exuding the charm he'd once cultivated. However, the scene unfolds with a hint of awkwardness, as a girl named Yanni tumbles, distracted, and Orba moves to catch her. Embarrassed, Yanni is quick to apologize, her peers playfully chastising her for losing focus. The exchange leaves an impression on Orba. As he watches Yanni socially navigate the world around her, memories of his own father stir within him. Orba, suddenly self-conscious, realizes that the playful banter and frivolous engagements are far from his forte. Amidst this backdrop, the dancers share stories, laughter, and musical proficiency. Orba's stiff demeanor softens as he discusses the art of flute crafting with Yanni. He finds an unexpected camaraderie with her, the simple act of touching her hand creating an unfamiliar warmth. Later, as Orba reflects on his interactions, he finds solace in the small, intimate connection he has made with Yanni. She, perceptively, recalls aloud, "When I came here, the first time I took your hand, it was because the smell of perfume amused me." The evening closes on a note of mutual understanding that's as intangible as the music that binds them. Shifting scenes, tension mounts elsewhere. Axe, a seasoned figure of authority, is troubled by recent rebellions and Orba's seeming retreat from duty. Unaware of Orba's perceived changes, Axe ponders how a man could balance his masked identity with the duties of a gladiator. His musings hint at unspoken questions of loyalty and mysteries Orba carries. Amidst advisement, Axe learns of recent movements involving the prestigious Bazgan house. Serving as a backdrop to the unfolding political tapestry, it's a reminder of the persistent unrest that colors their world. Yet, Axe's mind is occupied with practical concerns ensuring his men's affairs remain protected against these shifting tides. Elsewhere, within Iman's royal palace, beneath the luxurious facade, Axe unravels a new plan. His keen mind picks apart potential threats, moments before summoning the commander of the 6th Army Corps, Natok, to further consolidate their political strategies. Meanwhile, traveling along the highways, Orba and his companions reflect on their experiences. Gilliam is particularly vocal, teasing Orba's hesitance concerning recent encounters. Shikyu accuses Gilliam of unnecessarily burdening Orba with skepticism about his personal choices and forged friendships. With Orba at the helm, there's an evolving sense of identity and purpose. His companions look on expectantly. Gilliam adds, "The kid is finally releasing himself from the shackles of revenge. We'll be seeing Orba's real face." The sentiment underscores a sense of anticipation and hope, hinting at the deeper journey ahead in their entwined destinies. As night envelops the world, Orba feels the tentative stirrings of change within himself, setting the stage for a journey where battles fought extend beyond any physical battlefield, entwining destiny, power, and the essence of human connection in a tale that continues to unfold. In the midst of a journey, Orba, a known figure among the mercenaries, removes his mask to reveal his bandaged face, a reminder of his past in Taulia. Despite the risks, he discards his disguise, feeling a need to shed the layers of his hiding. Talcott, a fellow traveler, notices Orba's hastiness, pushing to continue despite the oppressive uncertainty that hangs over them. As they ride onward, Orba is deep in thought, wrestling with his next move. Should he return to Taulia, risk traveling north, or delve into the unknown? Memories of Mephius perplex Orba. His initial drive for revenge in Mephius, where Mephius was synonymous with vengeance, now feels foreign. Once shackled by the chains of the past, he realizes that his sense of self has quietly transformed. Among these conflicting thoughts, the image of Velina Owl surfaces. Though he hardly recollects her face, the mere thought of her revives a whirlwind of emotions within him. They never had a relationship of warmth and understanding, yet her presence lingers in his mind. Elsewhere, in Nedane, a town caught between decay and duty, the atmosphere is taut. It's a place where a long-standing stigma persists about its people being country bumpkins. Yet, events in recent months have stirred this sleeping town into restlessness. Pashia, a seasoned gladiator and former ally of the late Prince Gil Mephius, finds himself amid suspicions. There's talk among soldiers, and it's increasingly believed that Uberi's Black Armor Division had a hand in the prince's assassination. Amidst the confusion, Pashia recalls his first meeting with Gil, a bond forged under harsh battle conditions, and wonders whether he'll ever leave a mark on history. Goin, a soldier with uncertain intentions, displays unusual behavior that leaves Pashia uneasy. The secrecy surrounding him hints at a greater plot. Yet, Pashia remains cautious, knowing too well the games of deceit played by those in power. As tensions rise, an imperial decree arrives, announcing that the very task force Pashia had been part of is to be disbanded, a reminder of the prince's demise. It solidifies the end of an era, forcing Pashia to reflect on his role and the purpose behind their struggles. Myra, a young girl from the Solan gladiatorial circles, approaches Pashia, attempting to read his troubled expression. Underneath his hardened exterior lies a restlessness she senses but can't quite pinpoint. As they talk, Pashia's mind flits between past ties and future uncertainties, questioning where his loyalties should lie. In a sudden encounter with a bristling rival, tensions peak. Rogue Scion, notorious for his brute force, attempts to impose authority over Pashia, provoking a standoff. Just as conflict threatens to unravel, Miguel Tess intervenes. His timely appearance diffuses immediate bloodshed, yet the atmosphere remains explosive. This sequence of events unfolds in a cycle of confrontation and introspection, with each character maneuvering through a landscape marred by the echoes of past wounds and the shadow of impending trials. The intricate dance of alliances and enmities continues, with everyone poised on the edge of transformation in a kingdom teetering between war and peace. In a dusty and chaotic arena, Miguel Tess stands side by side with Pashia, caught in a whirl of battle. Soldiers charge at them with grim determination, but Miguel and Pashia fend them off with almost supernatural agility. Bodies of those who dared challenge them lie scattered, while their comrades blink in awe and fear. "Pretty good, Pashia," Miguel comments, admiration flaring briefly amidst the heat of combat. Blood drips down Pashia's face, his breath heavy yet defiant. More soldiers flood in, encouraged by their commander's barking orders. "No discipline!" Pashia calls out, taunting them with a smirk. "Our Dawnlight Wings division has plenty of brush." Despite the tension, humor glimmers in his words. The commanders' voices crack like whips, desperate to rally their troops. As the dust begins to settle, Rogue Scion's voice booms across the arena, authoritative and sharp. "What are you doing? Return to your posts." Even as the command halts the boiling chaos, Miguel, the spark still alive in him, grumbles, "But we've only just gotten started." Pashia grins back, an unyielding fire matching Miguel's. Beside them, soldiers murmur admiration, acknowledging their leader's resilience. As the sun dips below the horizon, Princess Velina arrives in Nedane. Goin, who has been left in charge of preparations, eagerly greets her. His demeanor is calm and methodical, but within him pulses a variety of emotions, anticipation, worry, and perhaps something more. Velina's eyes search the landscape with a curious intensity. Goin reflects on his recent experiences, escorting the princess unflinchingly. Though familiar with battlefields and the bloody sands of gladiatorial arenas, this new role stirs him in unexpected ways. Ran awaits Goin's return like a shadow in the barracks, wary yet knowing. "The princess has arrived," she asks. Goin nods, confirming the change in their circumstances. Both feel the strain of unfamiliar territory, Ran observes, trying to hide her concern, and Goin wonders silently about the path they tread. Their thoughts shift to Orba, a name now spoken with both reverence and wariness. Rumors and truths intertwine around his mysterious plans. As discussions fade, Shikyu, a familiar face brimming with loyalty, bids farewell, leaving behind an air of camaraderie and trust. Goin, looking back, ponders the weight of secrets untouched by time or distance. Orba's inscrutable mind leaves them in constant anticipation, even as Goin seeks solace in shared memories with those who remain. Ran spends her evening in quiet contemplation, seated beside Velina, a symbol of grace and strength she is only beginning to comprehend. Velina, however, is no stranger to action. Her eyes gleam with determination even as she faces tasks like dragon pen cleaning, a challenge tied to both honor and necessity. Though weary from the day's labor, Velina engages Ran in conversation. The subject of their talk naturally shifts towards the enigmatic past surrounding Apta and the prince. Orba's influence looms large, and as they speak, the air is thick with unspoken questions and budding alliances. In their shared silence, Velina reflects on her past experiences. Her thoughts drift to the stories of Prince Gil, the conflicts tinged with truths and half-truths, and the shadows stretching from Nozen to Garbira. Each story a thread, weaving a tapestry of alliances and betrayals. Eventually, Velina voices her resolve to explore the mysteries cloaking Apta. If I can find proof, then perhaps just maybe, her eyes burn with the desire for clarity, a plea for validation and purpose in a world that offers little certainty. Understanding this deeply personal quest, Ran listens, offering her silent support. Trust, after all, is both their shield and their anchor. As night settles upon them, Velina, ever persistent, muses aloud, "Do you think the prince really died?" Her voice a quiet echo of the suspicion simmering in their hearts. Ran, touched by Velina's determination, reassures her with a faint smile, knowing that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. Ran stands in disbelief at the recollection of not seeing Jerius Abigail's body with his own eyes. Around noon, amidst the hum of activity at a harbor where airships are maintained, Crow receives another round of teasing from her close friend, Ladai. Despite her protests and good-natured banter about losing weight, their camaraderie brings a bright moment amid the tension surrounding them. Crow is enjoying her time lounging on the warehoused air carrier, her laughter mingling with the noise around the docks. Velina, too, is there, participating in the light-hearted atmosphere until everyone's attention turns to more pressing matters, an upcoming stay in Nedane under Jerius's invitation. As Velina prepares for a week's sojourn, Rogue Scion encourages her to use the time to console herself after the loss of her fiancé. However, the situation takes a toll on Rogue as well, who finds himself consoled by Velina's presence instead. Reflecting on past events, Jerius had not been involved in the attack on Apta, and the Emperor found no grounds to reprimand him. Still, Jerius bore responsibility for warning Rogue about the deteriorating situation in Nedane. Velina's visit includes a public appearance with Jerius, and he's careful to keep conversations light and devoid of criticism regarding his predicament. As the day unfolds, Jerius invites Velina's company to explore scenic spots, emphasizing comfort with intentions that may hide underlying tensions. During one particularly formal dinner, the formality barely disguises the placid demeanor of the aristocracy, all too aware of the need to maintain appearances amidst ongoing conflict. The subject of discussion reaches toward a pardon for young Raymond, a man mired in controversy. Velina strategically maneuvers her words to influence Jerius, highlighting trust placed upon him previously by this same young lord. Simultaneously, a swift change in Velina's plans emerges. On the eve of her intended return, Velina claims an unforeseen complication with an airship's condition, cleverly masking her true intentions from onlookers. Her decision to stay is shrouded in subtle urgency, a flair characteristic of her usual decisive actions. Goin becomes aware of suspicious developments surrounding Velina's unexpected choices. Reflecting back on the princess's previous visit, doubt creeps into his mind about whether Velina changed after her trip to Nedane. Rand's perceptive nature is also drawn toward the ongoing mysteries. In a chorus of authority and command, Velina's announcement regarding a personal trip astounds several, particularly Teresa and Rogue, who internally speculate about her accentuated behavior. Her anxieties about losing control direct her careful manipulation toward securing plans unseen by many. Crow echoes the imminent discord, noting civilian tensions among fellow mechanics as rumors spread of Princess Velina's indiscretions. She stands ready, a beacon of efficiency amidst urgent preparations. Then, just as the anticipation looms overhead, Velina imposes a dramatic crescendo, commanding those aboard the ship with decisive flair. Rogue and Jerius are swept along amid the unfolding plans, vying for timely, precise decision-making against Velina's shrewdness. While some question whether her actions align with standard procedures or are deliberately orchestrated, it matters little as they launch into a burst of swift momentum. A cacophony of commands and engines serve as their symphony of departure toward unrevealed horizons. As the ships swiftly ascend, rumors of scandalous acts surround the daring choices made by these enigmatic leaders. Nonetheless, they rise ceaselessly above earthly constraints, continuing onward amid speculative whispers. General Science's flagship aligns with those already in motion, joining Velina's air fleet in a daring feat. The spectacle of coordination proves impressive, demonstrating seamless precision as they soar together through vast azure skies, leaving behind a trail of adventure and mystery in their wake. In the heart of Apta, Princess Velina expects an uneventful visit, but finds herself thrust into an unexpected turmoil. Nabal Meti appears urgently to meet her. His expression is stern, his presence imposing as he breaks the news about the sudden arrival of General Logue and his troops. What? Odine Lorgo as well? Velina inquires, suspicion aroused by the surprising reinforcements. Rogue Cyan approaches, urging the princess to head back to Kilro, as Nabal's new orders appear mysterious and potentially dangerous. Velina is wary but agrees to Rogue's suggestion, seeking his wisdom in an increasingly complex situation. As if on cue, Nabal commands his soldiers, a contingent appearing like shadows from the periphery. Their sudden emergence raises tensions in the air. A swift hand motion from Nabal signals them to restrain Princess Velina and send her to the rear. She's astounded. These men are soldiers he trusted, yet now they follow different directives from Nabal, who asserts, this is an order from His Majesty. The reality of the Emperor's orders hits Rogue, though comprehension remains elusive. As Velina and others are led away, there's a palpable sense of betrayal, heightened by Rogue's glance, dark and questioning, through Nabal's piercing glare. Later, in the fortress, Velina and Rogue convene in private, their minds racing with unanswered questions. Velina is frustrated, desperate to understand why Nabal acted against them. Her patience wears thin, yet Rogue remains pragmatic and calm, assuring her that Nabal's elaborate plans remain beyond their grasp for now. The truth, Rogue argues, likely lies with Oberyn Bylan's unexpected release and the mysterious shifts in Talia's domain following an internal conspiracy. You are on dangerous ground, Princess, warns Rogue, concern etched into his face. Meanwhile, Velina wrestles with sleeplessness, haunted by visions of treachery and confined rooms. Her heart burns with anxiety about Prince Gil, her thoughts a churning tempest, as news about his condition remains sporadic. The narrative unfolds further as Emperor Ghoul reacts strategically to Talia's lack of involvement in recent skirmishes. With a letter to Axbaz-Gan, a delicate thread is weaved towards potential reconciliation. However, undeterred by old acrimonies, Ghoul arms himself with a new weaponized camaraderie, pushing for a stronger stance against Talia's once formidable might. Simultaneously, Solan receives orders drafted in strategic urgency. Preparations for potential re-engagement with Talia are underway. Troops mobilize with unflinching anticipation, Nabal ready to helm a fully outfitted fleet, and Odine primed to command a formidable force on standby. As dawn breaks over Apta, Velina's world spins once more. News arrives hot and relentless. Oberyn Bylan walks free, no longer an accused but an exonerated pawn within a larger chess game. The shocking revelation ripples through the court, unsettling and provoking the minds of many, particularly Velina. Upon Odine's arrival, strategic discussions reignite. The council grapples with the labyrinthine intricacies of Taulia's unexpected movements. Nabal, commanding in presence and tone, dominates the conversation, sketching a meticulous invincibility cloaked in defensive prowess. "You may watch as I alone manage," he declares, confidence brimming over, a staunch rebuttal to Rogue and Odine's skepticism. The air churns thick with strategy and foreboding. Rogue's mind ebbs and flows through thoughts of militaristic precision versus the peace he longs for. An unspoken camaraderie with Odine forms, anchored in mutual respect but marred by the inevitability of conflict. Nabal's cold diplomacy incriminates Taulia, painting them with the broad brush of aggression, yet ingeniously avoiding full-scale warfare. Mephius can still win, he promises, counting on the looming threat of Taulia's fall as a powerful deterrent, a strategy rooted deeply in psychological warfare. Determined to maintain control, Nabal strides to a secluded chamber beneath the barracks, where key soldiers from the Imperial Guards are quietly confined. Among them is the formidable Pasha, a man well acquainted with the blades of battle. Nabal eyes him with careful calculation, assessing his potential value within Nabal's complex plans. In Pasha, Nabal sees not just a relic of past skirmishes, but an opportunity he can leverage, a piece on his board positioned for effectual use in the dance of manipulation. Meanwhile, far from the tense corridors of power, Bowuan Tado surveys the outer landscapes, the rugged elevations of the Boldo villages. Beneath an armored exterior lies a heart attuned to the pragmatic necessities of daily survival. Villager fervor is tangible, as soldiers turn civilians' aid in routine tasks, all the while casting hopeful eyes upon Bowuan. Back within the castles and streets suffused with less visible threats, Orba makes an unexpected return. Disguised once more by his trademark mask, he weaves through Taulia's vibrant streets. Whispers of his deeds echo, tales cast long shadows over every cobblestone and flagstone, his presence a reminder of unfading resilience amidst the chaos. In the bustling aftermath of their victory, crowds spill onto the streets, their cheers resounding like waves against the shores of a distant kingdom. The air is thick with celebration, as people gather to honor the return of a hero. Among them, Gilliam and his band of mercenaries from Taulia stand proud, accompanying the hero who has become the focal point of this grand welcome, Prince Gil, or rather, Orba, who has been living beneath the prince's guise. A wave of triumph rolls over their return, ever magnified by the rhythmic chants of the crowd. As Orba observes the festivities, a sense of inner turmoil quietly stirs within him. Alone in his quarters, he removes his mask, allowing his mind to escape to places far afield. Staring out at the city now painted by the shadows of twilight, his thoughts spiral through the complexities of his existence. His true identity remains tethered to a name, anonymous save in memory, Orba, the Iron Tiger who once ensnared the hearts of gladiators and held a village in its grasp. Yet, such recollections carry the weight of burdensome uncertainty. Decision looms over Orba like a pivotal sword strike, to reveal himself or remain enshrouded in secrecy. But, he muses, caught in the throes of reflection, considering both the future ahead and the hero's mantle wrapped around his shoulders. Burdened, he weighs fame against anonymity, freedom against obligation. Just then, a messenger from Bowuan arrives, interrupting the cascade of his thoughts. As the opportunity beckons for Orba to once again don the mask, he obliges, a soldier heeding a call that only destiny seems fit to answer. Bowuan greets Orba warmly, yet with a measure of somber respect. They've toiled and triumphed against adversities, a bond forged in battle. Yet, amidst the pleasantries, lurks the spectre of monumental decisions as Bowuan reveals, a certain princess would like to see you. The request, though steeped in politeness, carries an undercurrent of command. Orba catches the implicit urgency, Princess Esmina wishes to meet him. Their conversation veers to topics of political maneuverings and heroism, wrapped in the quiet understanding that resonates between those who have shared life's precipice. Orba agrees to meet Esmina, though skepticism and curiosity vie within him. He knows fully well, each step he takes leads him further down a path paved by the confluence of public expectation and personal resurgence. Within the stately chambers of Esmina Bazgan, her composure commands the room with an undercurrent of regal authority. Her ladies' maids fuss about, attempting to fathom their princess's uncharacteristic agitation. Earlier, Esmina had summoned Orba, whose true identity remained an enigma to many. The rumors abound, yet the young warrior holds sway whether through fear or respect, perhaps both. Orba arrives, masked yet vigilant, to meet the princess who has captured so many whispers of court. The scene unfurls with an elaborate simplicity, two figures poised across a table, the air between them charged with unspoken inquiries. In an attempt to bridge the gap of formalities, Orba remarks, "Princess, I hope you have been doing well," his tone mild yet edging towards genuine concern. Esmina, perceptive beyond her years, plies with him for revelation, "Won't you show me your face?" The question lingers, affixed with a gravity only she seems to bear. As silent beats pass, Orba falters momentarily, feeling the weight of a secret threatening to spill its confines. Stilled, he reluctantly agrees, an agreement that echoes long after the curtain sways from his actions. Time appears to splinter into fragments as Esmina's eyes widen in grounding realization. The mask is his tether, and for Orba, revealing himself feels both profoundly right and immeasurably wrong. Before the spell of the moment could break, Esmina's resolve fractures, a human moment, raw and unveiled, as she whispers her understanding. Orba's mask is swiftly returned, a wall reconstructed in haste. In the ensuing pause, the tenor of Esmina's voice shifts, akin to leaves gathering windswept strength. "I will not resile from what I duly owe. You saved me, warrior, and Talia owes you a great debt of gratitude." Orba acknowledges her sincerity, the exchange marks a quiet genesis of mutual respect. Meanwhile, outside the boundaries of expectation, soldiers regroup, strategists devise, and life marches closer to an impending confrontation unknown to many. Esmina, now more composed and resolute, prepares to continue the journey which history has woven for her. Meanwhile, Orba tangles with a realization, his part in this burgeoning story is only beginning, with challenges and choices destined to morrow his every step. All the while, old alliances and new tensions briskly flicker through the corridors of power, underscoring the delicate dance of diplomacy and silent understandings shared on shadowed balconies and within whispered alcoves. The world waits, cloaked and patient, for the unfolding tale of silent heroics, princely masquerades, and the hearts bridging the divide between. As the sun begins its descent, Garbran streets are thick with anticipation and whispers. There's tension in the air as the citizens brace themselves for what might come, the recent assassination of Prince Gil still fresh in their hearts. Young Prince Gil had once been apt as shield against turmoil, yet now the realm trembles in uncertainty and mourns his loss. Orba, who had fought fiercely to defend the West, wonders if any semblance of peace can prevail. The impacts are profound. Mephius faces potential ruin, accusations brewing in the aftermath of Gil's death. Speculations swirl, was it Mephius's doing? Within this atmosphere of distrust, Velina chooses to reflect on her grandfather, remembering his smile, as she seeks counsel on what steps to take. Gil's name reverberates within her thoughts, "May I bother you, princess?" Velina's determination is palpable as she receives a medallion from Soden, a keepsake for Gil. The medallion encapsulates memories, its every engraving echoing moments of bravery, like the time it saved Prince Gil from a bullet. Velina grasps its weight, infused with a solemn, silent promise to honor those moments. Meanwhile, the airships above signal something ominous. Velina watches them leave as Garbira holds its collective breath, sensing upheaval. Firmly grasping the medallion, Velina sets out with renewed resolve, guided by the swirling whispers of remembrance and duty. She soon rides in an airship piloted by Dolra, a man whose presence fills the air with a palpable tension. His mission is simple yet fraught with risk: deliver Princess Velina across turbulent borders to Talia. Velina remains a beacon of composure, a mere figure amidst turmoil, yet embodying immense attrition. As they approach their destination, Velina catches fragments of conversation on the importance of discretion, the need for utmost caution, and whispers of a great banquet, a thin veil covering the heavy tensions beneath. Entering the town, Velina keeps her head low, sensing her presence might not go unnoticed as she is shuffled along. Her arrival heralds a meeting with Buentados, who solemnly acknowledges the gravity of what Velina's appearance signifies. Is it that serious? Velina questions, suspicion threading her tone. Despite her calm demeanor, Buent's nerves are on edge. He knows what her presence could imply, a harbinger of deeper unrest. Velina's intent is steadfast, to return to Mephius, to face whatever lies ahead with unwavering resolve, opting to stand as a hostage if necessary to ensure peace. But the path she chooses to walk is fraught with danger, each decision tinged with the potential for great sacrifice. As Velina departs, a sense of urgency grips Buwen. With news of mobilization, Talia prepares hastily, attempting to gather forces and strategize amidst looming threats. Buwen contemplates the enormity of the situation at hand. If Mephius decides to march, the city defenses may crumble. Yet within him stirs the heart of a warrior, unwilling to yield without a fight. Buwen rallies the remaining manpower, his thoughts a whirl of tactical considerations. But time is slipping through his fingers, and the dark night brings an even darker resolve. Whispers among warriors, voices cloaked in foreboding, herald the coming storm. Mephius is on the move, and Talia must ready itself for the approaching clash. Against the backdrop of unrest, Orba is drawn into the discourse. His voice carries the weight of one who understands the stakes. The decision must be made swiftly, reinforcing positions and kindling hope amidst uncertainty. Yet echoes of battle sound in the distance, as the spectre of war veils the horizon. The threat is vast, Mephius's ambition clear, no mere skirmish awaits but a full-fledged invasion. The urgency escalates, fears mounting. Orba's silence speaks volumes, a momentary pause before the inevitable, a swirling tension set the stage for the conflict to unfold. The tension hangs heavy in the air as Orba and his allies grapple with the urgency of their situation. "I know," he barks, emphasizing the necessity for swift action. The advantage they've once had is slipping, and Orba understands the need to act decisively, yet his companion, Urba, finds himself entwined in indecision. "It's Mephius who is being slow," he mutters, frustration evident in his voice. Amidst these weighty discussions, a new development takes place. The guards, who previously accompanied the princess back, arrive, and with them comes a sense of unexpected news for Dorai, the one tasked with guiding the Princess Velina to her destination. The journey to the relay station had been longer than anticipated, yet they successfully return after a 3-hour nap, having avoided alerting anyone with a signal of their arrival. Velina, Dorai, and their group are met with an atmosphere of heightened anticipation. The princess's successful journey through potentially hostile territory has not only demonstrated her bravery but also stirred a fear in Mephius. Their realization is profound, any hesitation now could tip the scales irrevocably. As the commander barks orders to his men, their attention shifts entirely to Velina as she reassures them, "I do not think that I will be able to do anything more. But still, I will try my best." Her steely determination resonates, especially with Dorai, who admires her resolve. As the airship the princess arrived on takes off, Velina finds herself contemplating the gravity of their mission and the risks involved. With no guiding beacon this time, she relies on her own resolve and thanks her companions. "Well then, see you next time," she states, a promise not of certainty but of unwavering commitment. Following her departure, Velina is once again en route, driven by her relentless determination. Meanwhile, Nabal, the commander of the Blue Zenith Division, observes his men as they cross the border, pondering the unexpected docility of the guard stationed there. The Mephian troops trail behind as he muses over the apparent absence of hostility from Taulian forces. The air is tense, yet confusion reigns over why the border remains so eerily calm. Meeting the princess, Nabal questions her motives, particularly why she would return to such a politically precarious position with little more than swords and sightseeing on her mind. The exchange is sharp, Nabal suspicious, and Velina poised but unwavering as she defends her actions. Their dialogue reveals undercurrents of mistrust and deception, with Nabal asserting the traitorous potential behind Velina's actions. However, Velina retorts with clarity about her intentions, not of treachery, but perhaps foresight. Her voice is steady, authoritative, even as the clouds of Nabal's accusations hang over them thickly. Playing, she queries, "I merely went to Taulian. Did I not say so?" With dawn nearly upon them, Nabal advises the princess to make her return. The encroaching daylight could strain their already thin patience and resources. Despite his veiled threats and the ominous overtones of the conversation, Velina remains steadfast, resolved to uphold her allegiance to her chosen path. Even as she turns her back on Nabal, he sneers, casting doubt on her convictions. Within her own heart, Velina grapples with the subtle teasing out of vulnerabilities that Nabal attempts to exploit. Her resolve does not waver, though the weight of her commitment is palpable. Her mind remains firmly set on returning to Torlian, determined to see through to the end whatever she has set into motion. Finally, as the airship lifts off once more, Nabal watches with a mixture of disdain and satisfaction. Torlian's first wave of troops is coming, he laughs, perhaps oblivious to the larger ripple effects of Velina's choices and the uncertain future that lies ahead. Back in the shadows, Orba's turmoil is laid bare. He's haunted by vivid memories of Mephius, a place now synonymous with betrayal and bitterness. The darker thoughts cloak his mind as he recalls the past intricacies of power plays and personal vendettas. Yet, amidst this internal tumult, clarity emerges. Their current engagement is not just a military maneuver but a game woven with past and present loyalties. As orders are relayed, there is purpose imbued in the movement of troops and the strategic positioning around the river. The Council of War prior had been vexing, with suspicions and alliances tested, yet the weight of duty presses on. Orba, harboring vengeance and urgent need for strategic acumen, proceeds with his discreet commands, aligning his men with the necessary schemes to confront the approaching confrontation with Mephius. Though Buen, his advisor, advocates for strong resolves, Orba remains unwavering. Weapons are amassed, plans laid with tactical clarity, and Orba's resolve is mirrored by those around him. He's mindful of the landscape's treacherous terrain, determined to wrest back control with his keen sense of stratagem. As night encroaches, anticipation builds with scarce slumber or respite for the soldiers stationed on the field. Nabal, overseeing this precarious standoff, is cautious yet eager, restraining from premature engagement until the scales truly tip. In the storyline's very fabric, the tension churns towards an inevitable climax, a dynamic intertwining of unity, strategies poised, and wits tested to their limit. The princess's venture and encounters have sent ripples through the battlements of trust, her tenacity burning an indelible impression on those she encounters, unaware of where this winding path might ultimately lead. Darren's unit advances through the mountain paths, their purpose defined by the plan prearranged with the general. Concealed within the Belgana range, they prepare for a surreptitious assault on Torlian forces, banking on surprise and the terrain to aid their cause. Engulfed in the chaos of battle, Darren vividly remembers the flames, the very flames that brought ruin to his own life, anticipating the devastation they will soon unleash. With a cruel smile, Darren promises his troops their reward, Torlian loot. They will storm the lands and claim victory before Mephian reinforcements arrive. As the preparations culminate, 500 soldiers begin their approach under Darren's command. The synchronized movement of advancing troops and the igniting of a tactical ploy fill the air with a tense anticipation. Suddenly, a storm of sound explodes. Gunshots ring out from hidden positions, Torlian riflemen lying in wait to ambush the advancing forces. Panic permeates Darren's unit, and confusion dictates their response. Caesar, who anticipated the ambush, stands firm. He orders cannon fire to counteract the riflemen, turning the tables as smoke and thunder split the sky. His experience from numerous campaigns comes to the fore, guiding his forces to execute a preconceived plan with precision. Their coordination entraps Darren's floundering men, who are now in disarray. An unexpected airship, a mysterious force not initially considered in the battle, causes further havoc on the field. Nabal, leading his own unit at the flank, urges forward with fury, attempting to use the airship's distraction to their advantage. Yet, a powerful gust destabilizes the advance, revealing a deeper plot and unexpected foes. Amidst the swirling conflict, Caesar's command faces an eerie figure wearing a mask. The intense confrontation unfolds between Caesar and this enigmatic adversary. Sparks fly as blades clash, and Caesar makes a split-second decision to cover Nabal's retreat, keeping the appearance of control. Meanwhile, Orba, another key player in the unfolding drama, assesses the situation from a strategic vantage point. He suspects that Mephius has gleaned vital terrain intelligence, prompting his warnings to the commanders. Their conversation revolves around a tactical shift, one that might change the course of the confrontation. As the commanders debate the logistics of a deceptive attack to mislead the enemy, Orba displays uncanny understanding of the enemy's plans and promotes a strategic diversion. Plans solidify to utilize soldiers in performing a staged ambush at the city borders, drawing the enemy into a specifically intended kill zone. Back on the chaotic battlefield, Orba's forces, treated as outsiders by Mephians, execute their function with unsettling clarity. They embody the volatile blend of detachment and efficiency required to confront known adversaries who once shared allegiance. In a decisive moment, amidst rattled foes and the unpredictability of war, Orba comes face to face with a masked enemy whose prowess echoes memories of past encounters. Aware of the terrain and reactions, Orba stands ready, his resolve unwavering, even as recognition dawns on who his opponent might be. When swords slice through the haze, and each subsequent clash pushes closer to a grim realization, Orba acknowledges a familiar stance and formidable skill. Past loyalties fade in the swirl of dust and cries, leaving only the current allegiance to the sword. The severing blow of recognition strikes both figuratively and literally as Orba's masked opponent reveals the connection, Pascia. Both hesitate for a mere second on the battlefield but are forced to continue the inevitable duel. "It can't be, you're Orba." "Yeah," comes the reply, underscored by the weight of shared history and a dispiriting reality. Orba's mind races as he prepares to face, or perhaps destroy, a defining connection from his past as alliances twist under the brutal demands of war. Amidst the clamor of battle, swords clash and the cries of the dying rise in a chaotic symphony. The scene is tense, only Orba and Pascia find themselves momentarily detached from the turmoil as their swords meet with a quiet intensity. A sudden attack aimed at Orba by a shadowy figure catches him off guard. It's an attack he could not anticipate, and having no freedom to maneuver, he does what he can to block the strike. Pascia stares, astonished by this encounter, torn by inner conflict regarding Orba's presence. He suspects Orba might be a spy for Taulia. However, events unfold quickly, and when Orba swiftly retreats beside him, Pascia faces a choice. He momentarily lowers his blade, acknowledging the shared battlefield and musing aloud, "You can't really be a spy for Taulia." Orba reassures him, sensing the urgency and constraint of time, "There's a load of things I want to ask you." Pascia remains skeptical, demanding clarification. "What about the other Imperial Guards?" Orba's reply is pragmatic yet incomplete, suggesting separation within their forces, indicating that the heart of their unit lies in Apta. Pascia persistently probes deeper, challenging Orba's presence amidst Mephius's army, suspecting subterfuge. Pascia's words are sharp. "Why are you?" "No, why is Mephius' army here?" Orba counters, hinting at suspicion within the highest ranks of power, mentioning rumors and deception possibly involving the Emperor himself. Their conversation is abruptly interrupted as Orba desperately seeks to clarify the identity of the commander-in-chief, revealing a name new to him, Nabal Meti. Suddenly, a flurry of battles renews. Orba's focus darts back to the fray while Shikyu and Gilliam accompany him, cutting through the enemies with unmatched resolve, fearless in their advance. "You two, come with me. We're going to attack the enemy's main force from behind." Orba's voice is firm, galvanizing his comrades. Meanwhile, Nabal, skilled yet perplexed by the bold maneuvers of Taulian cavalry, takes note of their tactical brilliance, observing with grudging respect. Yet, as Taulian forces make a strategic display of charging, wielding their spears with precision, Orba, Shikyu, and Gilliam are galloping hard in pursuit with a group of mercenaries at their back. The chaos heightens when Nabal's men fall victim to their own unpreparedness. The enemy's agile movement cuts through their defenses, and in a frantic call to arms, Nabal commands retreat, despite his natural reluctance to flee a fight. The moment's tension weakens Nabal's stance, forcing him into a shameful retreat. Orba, seeing the tactical opening, harangues his forces, but the unrelenting tide of Taulian pursuit soon threatens their very hold. Meanwhile, Orba's contemplation is disrupted when a lone messenger, barely recognizable, enters the fray with urgent news. It's Pascia, whose voice cuts through the clamor, urging Nabal to assume a safer position at the rear, warning or guiding as circumstances require. Both Orba and Nabal grapple with the dire situation as they reconsider the strategic implications of their entangled forces. There is a sobering moment of self-awareness, an acknowledgement that their campaign intentions had been naive against the unyielding resolve of the Taulian warriors. As Orba and the few who remain retreat across the terrain, Nabal, though wounded by the engagement, eyes Orba with newfound respect. Magnificent, he concedes, testifying to Orba's audacity even amid disappointment. Orba's attention soon shifts, a revelation, one cloaked in covert actions, slowly becomes apparent. Against the backdrop of an uneasy truce, the name Garbaran Princess, Velina Owl, is spoken with reverence, casting a shadowy influence on the unfolding vendettas. Just then, gunfire shatters the ambience. Figures fall in deadly unison as Orba wrests control back, pivoting sharply as a bullet grazes the scene. At a crescendo, Orba's mind races over betrayed allegiances and scheming plots, with the intercepted shots indicating a betrayal from within. Meanwhile, at Solan's imperial court, Ghoul Mephius erupts as news breaks through the formal barriers, pushing his intentions toward aggressive retaliation. The Emperor's ire paints a picture of political manipulation, declaring his ambition to strike back against Taulia with devastating force. Within these shifting sands of treachery and heroism, alliances, and secret whispers, a declaration of vengeance hangs over the Empire, swelling the tide that both emboldens and haunts the warriors bound by their grievances and valor.